What's up? And welcome back to the Big and Flick Podcast.
Jesus.
I'm Luke. I had to do it for this one.
I'm Natasha.
I'm Vox.
And we are back with the Halloween Extravaganza number 3.
Are you embracing it now?
Well, what the do you want me to lie and say it's not?
Well, no, it's just you haven't been on so many. And
Well, when you get kicked off.
I didn't know if that was it's now a reoccurring
Well,
joke.
you know, consistent branding is important even if half of the podcast is missing.
Says you. Oh my God.
So we decided during the draft, I think last year even.
It was on the draft.
Yeah,
last year.
I really wanted to do the 2000 absolute classic scary movie.
The scariest movie of them all.
Yeah, it definitely rode the line of, is this horror movie? But it's a spoof of horror movies. It's got a few, there are a few moments where
The best
you
of
could,
both worlds.
Sure.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen this movie in over a decade, and rewatching it, going into it, I knew I wouldn't remember anything that was going on, and rewatching it, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. I know I'm not gonna like this, and ended up laughing the entire time.
Well,
because I'm 12 years old.
It's definitely guy humor.
Not only that, but it's a very specific
Sexist.
time period of comedy
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
Because this, I'm the complete opposite with Vox in terms of the other side of the coin. I love spoof movies, I love comedy, and I love horror movies. So something like this is right up my alley. I love the Wayans. I think they're a very talented family.
Yeah, I agree.
Who have consistently stuck around. Like, even Marlon Wayans is still in that. He was in that Bel Air reboot recently for
really?
one episode, and it was fucking fantastic.
Oh, wow.
But I love this type of humor, and I even stated right at the beginning of the movie, this was the last one. After this, spoof movies went in the toilet.
Really?
And I'll explain it. Do you want me to just run it down real quick?
I mean, yeah.
So spoof movies are a very interesting subgenre of film for me, because at one time they were one of, if not the greatest bits of cinematic comedy that we would get, at least in my opinion.
Okay.
Because it took every trick in the book. And I think it was Jay, once again, when he was talking about one of their movies, because this is a very interesting movie, because this movie is is to blame for spoof movies completely falling apart. And let me explain that real quick, because this might not make sense if you don't know. So originally, way back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a delightful trio consisting of Jerry and David Zucker, as well as a guy named Jib Abraham. And these guys were the tits. These guys created not only the original, well, not the original, but Airplane, which everybody knows, Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Police Squad, which was a TV show before Naked Gun.
Oh, okay.
Which, that's the reason it's called Naked Gun, from the files of Police Squad. It was like 6 episodes. Nobody watched it, but it's really funny. Leslie Nielsen, once again. And from there, they also had one called Top Secret, which was Val Kilmer's first movie. Delightful movie. We should definitely check it out. But along the way, there was Hot Shots with Charlie Sheen, and eventually it kind of just, it kept going. You'd get one every couple years, and that trio of dudes was really the glue that held it together. And Jay said something really nice from Red Letter Media. Their comedy is very Midwest, where it's crude, it's a little offensive, but it's always from like a good place in their heart. You can tell they're just trying to have a laugh, and don't take everything too seriously. And that's that, the slapsticks and you know, Cindy running away all comedically.
Yeah.
That's right up their alley. There's one scene in Top Secret where Val Kilmer falls in the water, and then it's like a 4-minute underwater cowboy saloon fight scene, but they're all underwater. And it's one of the most creative scenes I've ever seen. And nobody talks about this movie. Nobody knows about it. And like, I'm just thinking the amount of effort that went into the stupid gag to get all of the, like, there's like the bar, like all the chairs, they're like whacking each other over the head with stuff, and it's all underwater, so it's goofy and fun. But fast forward to Scary Movie, obviously the Wayans were heavily involved at this point. They had been in Hollywood comedy for years and years, but that's where the big but comes in. Studios really fucked with this movie a lot, and more so the second movie, and that was what caused the Wayans to say fuck it, and they were done after the second one, because Scary Movie 2 came out less than a year after this one.
Oh, wow.
They pumped this fucker out, and then it was all from there. However, notice how I said the 3 dudes that held it all together. They went away pretty soon after that, because after this, 2 dudes of the names Freeberg and Seltzer, they were writers on this movie. And I put that in big air quotes because supposedly they're credited but didn't contribute hardly anything. I think they wrote like the original outline of Scary Movie, and then the Waynes and everyone else came in and said, what the fuck is this? And basically, rewrote the whole thing. And so what happened is fast forward a few years, Scary Movie 1 and 2 made a ton of money. Hollywood came a-knocking to Freeberg and Seltzer and gave them complete writing freedom to do epic movie, date movie, and disaster movie, which, if you know, are 3 of the lowest rated movies of all time, and is what basically fucked this genre into oblivion with funny reference humor, taking trailers from that year and putting, like, Iron Man gets ass blasted by the Hulk, and then Kim Kardashian gets farted on, and Alvin and the Chipmunks fight fucking Kung Fu Panda, and it, like, all the creativity was just sucked out of it.
What about Not Another Teen Movie?
Yeah, and
I think that one was good. I mean, I don't think that one was too much, because I feel like date movie is over the top and disgusting.
Yeah,
Epic,
and then
Epic movie is the other one. Yeah,
yeah,
They're
and
just-
then there was the hungover games, and it just completely went off.
It's all
from
the
there.
same like people.
I don't know how involved they were, but I know they did those 3, and then kept going from there.
Were those in theaters?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was one called The Starving Games too.
Yeah, and I don't know that's well past
Those are
what
like
I know.
straight to streaming. Or
And
some
that's
Yeah.
like after like 2010, 2012, and it's really unfortunate because that trio of people poured so much into making something out of what is theoretically just nonsense.
Right.
And now what could have been still a thriving genre, I would think, is completely fucked. And it's sad because this movie is excellent in a lot of ways, in presentation and how they recreate what they're parodying, and there was a lot of effort put in just for, I don't know, the whole thing to go away.
It seemed
It's a nice time capsule, I guess,
Yeah.
of the end.
It seemed like it was longer. Like the story kind of like you said, encapsulated a whole lot of things that were going on. This movie seemed really long, but it wasn't even what was it, an hour and a half?
Hour 28, I think.
Yeah. And so it was funny because it takes a lot of stuff from obviously Scream, and then
I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, pulls a bunch of different like plot twisting gags together, all while mixing fart jokes and gay jokes, and
Which we counted
like,
2 hilarious lady farts in this movie.
There's 2 hilarious lady farts. And I say gay jokes, but I think it was like kind of tasteful because at the time, listen, if you pull out a fake ball sack right now and it's not on Dirty Grandpa or whatever fucking Bad Grandpa, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But like to do it then, it wasn't like making fun of them directly. It was just like
Well, the comedy comes from
Yeah.
from them being in that situation.
And that's the thing, is
and,
like-
yeah, context.
Well, this
These
was
people-
before comedy was offensive to anything that anyone said was offensive.
Right,
you know?
and the people that like make this movie together, they're like, you know what's funny that we think is funny is this.
is gay panic, and what if
Exactly.
what if every androgynous gym teacher you've ever had a massive hanging ball sack? Like just
Exactly.
funny and like
People
I said,
that could reference that.
innocent,
Yeah.
like it's offensive, but you still, it's like a little kid on the schoolyard.
It's not
giggling
someone
with his
going.
friends.
Right.
It's not,
In the beginning, he's like, "Does this shirt make me look gay?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know."
or no, he says
He
no.
says no.
and then
But I'm
he
saying-
flips it and does the little bun
Yeah,
and says,
like-
"What about now?"
But I'm saying he could have. It's not them saying, "Yeah, you slur
Well,
slur
yeah,
word
yeah.
starts with an F, ends with a G."
Franklin.
Yeah. you
Nope,
know-
ends with it. Oh, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, there could have been way worse like innuendos that were making fun of gays, but in this movie, he was just like, no, because it's a bright yellow, clearly feminine looking.
Tank top.
No one gives a shit because
Yeah, and
that's
the way
funny.
he ties it. Yeah.
Because it's funny, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's
Because,
almost
like-
like things can be funny and still offensive
Yeah.
a little bit.
Well, it's just like what you were saying is like comedy's now offensive to everyone.
Right. It's like you have to walk on eggshells when it comes to comedy, or it's a comedy and it's offensive and some people hate it and some people like it. We're a Scary Movie. It's just like it was the time it came out.
Right.
And it was okay to make jokes, and a joke is a joke.
The only company I'll say that doesn't give a shit, and if it's funny is Netflix, thanks to Dave Chappelle's special.
Yeah, several specials.
Yeah, because they just embrace it all and they do their own thing. But yeah, I think farts are funny.
They are.
And there's some funny, like you mentioned, some funny farts. And I also think that the acknowledgement of how corny horror movies can be.
Well, not only that, but the one thing I really wanted to try to pay attention to was what in this movie didn't not only age well, but I could see those two hacks putting in that movie. And for every like one joke that missed, there was like 5 really good ones that landed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there wasn't many that I was like, all right, this is stupid. You know, there was.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like I said is when they did those other movies, it was always what's current, what's right now, and 2 and Beyond in the scary movies leaned way more into that. Like I remember there was like a minute-long gag about this like one Nike commercial from 2001, and like you remember Beetlejuice from Howard Stern, the little guy.
Yes.
Spell red, LSTR.
Yeah.
That guy, he's in it for like a second. He's in Shorty's brain. Like just little dumb like of the time jokes that anyone now would be like, what is happening?
Well, sure, it's a Dawson's Creek thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
wrong set.
Yeah, that was fucking hilarious to me. That was really funny.
Yeah, because they just threw it in there, and it wasn't. You know, I'm sure people, like Luke said, people were probably freaking out in the theater when that happened.
Yeah, right. It's like a crossover event.
James Vanderbeek.
Yeah, it's one of the first. It's Marvel's stuff before Marvel did it.
You know, he was great on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, he was. You're right. He was.
Oh, so you'll watch this guy on Dancing with the Stars, but you see Daniel fucking Ralph Macchio, and it's suddenly we can't watch Cobra Kai.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was kicked off the first episode.
Yeah, because he had to get back to the good show.
No, he's bad. No, he was like the
Everyone
really old...
bully them in the comments to watch Cobra Kai.
No,
they're
it was
fucking losers.
It was the old guy. Is that Ralph Macchio?
Well, they're all old now.
Like the really, really old guy.
Reese?
I don't know his
It
name.
doesn't matter because that's not what this episode's about.
It should be though.
She'll go on and on.
So
That's
would
why I
I.
have to cut it off. Couple of things that I didn't like but were well done. The the scene that mimics the Blair Witch.
Yeah, with the immense amount of snot, which is great because you watch that Blair Witch and should have gave that chick a tissue.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's for realism and all, but no.
Oh, man.
I'm good.
Didn't like that at all. That was not...
And that's the thing, too, is like they would... Obviously, the main focus was Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and little bits of Halloween and Psycho and stuff in there, but like they would do little vignettes like that, parody, like The Usual Suspects at the end, and whatever. And it was really neat because... You could tell they were doing it because they really liked those movies.
Yeah, they were pulling inspiration and pulling
versus,
things.
Here's Paul Blart running over her grandma. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that was speaking of grandmas.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing that I
How do we always come back to Paul Blart with you?
Well,
it's a big one.
He rides a Segway. He's funny because he's fat.
The other thing that I didn't like, and I don't like this in any movie that does this, comedy or not, but like the over-the-top absurd like starts to throw things, you know, it is very distracting to see a staircase,
an extra wide staircase
that's 25 feet wide, and then a piano coming down it and running over your grandma, and I think this is the scene that sticks with me the most. It might be the third one, maybe, where the kid gets like lifted up in the air and it like gets bounced off the fucking ceiling.
I think that's
fan.
4.
And
then he gets hit by the car and
then thrown out the window, and then it goes rolling down the hill and it falls into a volcano, and then a nuke hits it and it explodes and the whole world implodes on itself, and there's a dark hole that sucks the universe in.
They
It's
take
like,
these
calm down.
cliches that are plagued with horror movies and just blow them up to the fucking absurdity.
I don't necessarily like that. I'd rather stick with the, you know, small, very quippy, her running away because she's all upset.
That is probably the hardest I've laughed.
I was gonna say, I think that's the funniest moment in that movie.
Because I can just imagine Keenan Ivory behind the camera. All right, Anna, run like a complete doofus.
run like you're upset, but also it's a '90s cartoon.
Because like I could just imagine how much fun everyone was having making this movie.
I can't imagine that the first two. I can't remember the third one, but these first two weren't a blast to be on. I mean, especially if they were shot back to back like that, they were probably still riding the high of like how exciting it was for the first one to come out, the audience reactions, because it had to have been good.
Huge hit, huge success.
And I'm sure everyone was like, all right, we had great time doing the first one. It's fun as hell. I mean, the movie theater scene, we all know someone who's had like the, hey, you got to shut the fuck up
We've
moment,
all been in the
you know?
theater where the annoying teenage girls
Yeah, of course.
or the loudmouth popcorn munchers, the little kids. We've all been in the theater. We were just talking about that an episode or two ago where you've always experienced these fucking assholes who just can't realize they're out in public.
Yep. And I think that's realistic, but it's also funny because eventually everyone around them pulls out a knife and starts stabbing
And
you.
yeah,
chops
and like I said,
Doing what everyone wants
it's
to.
that compounding thing where people start stabbing them, and then you see a rabbi and a priest start beating the shit out of this lady, like just stupid nonsense that in your head you explain it, it sounds crazy and offensive, and oh, you can't do. But again, it's just so cute and just silly.
I think this is
That's the word I'd use.
this is kind of going back to the, like you said, the rabbi and the priest and the monk and all that stuff.
Priest and a rabbi walk into a bar.
It's a unity thing. They're making jokes on everything that everyone can.
It's
find
not one
funny.
specific group
Yeah.
or demographic.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. Everyone's
It's
getting
not-
made fun of.
Yeah, it's not Christians, it's not Muslims, it's not blacks, it's not whites. It's everyone can laugh at a fart joke, and everyone can relate to some loud bitch eating chicken in a movie theater. You know,
We know because Vox is that loud
that's right.
bitch.
I am, but I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
I miss comedies like this because comedies in general just don't get theatrical run like that.
What's the last like good comedy in the past 5 years?
We're the Millers?
Okay,
That wasn't even. That was more than.
but that was
5
more than
years
5
ago.
years ago. Yeah, I'm talking in the
The
last.
Nice Guys?
No, that's not in the last 5 years, is it?
Oh, 2016, I think.
That's with Will Ferrell and.
No, that's the other guys.
Oh, the other
That's
guys.
2010. I'm thinking. I'm saying the
2016.
Shane Black's The Nice Guys.
Oh, the Nice Guys
with Ryan Gosling
Rising
and
Up,
Russell
yeah.
Crowe.
Oh yeah, your favorite.
What about that? The Boys movie, Good Boys.
Oh, that sucked.
Oh,
didn't see it.
thought
That was
funny.
super bad. Super bad. That's what I called it.
Ooh.
No.
Good joke.
Okay.
No, I didn't see it. I don't think we could name a good like.
They just
whole-
don't. TV comedy is still alive and well.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Atlanta, Lil Dicky show, stuff like that. Like comedy.
Well, there's a lot of
television still happens, but
I would say that even Stranger Things is funny. Like there's some good like stuff in there, but I'm talking like hour and a half.
when Chrissy dies, I laugh
Comedy-
hysterically.
I mean, Bad Trip.
Oh yeah. Well, that wasn't in theaters. That went to Netflix.
Yeah,
It didn't go to theaters.
No, it was
No.
supposed to, and then
that's
Oh,
the end
yeah.
times happened.
It
Yeah.
didn't. Okay.
In case you forgot.
I did.
Jackass, but that's more of a realism thing. It's not comedy. It's not like a comedy.
Yeah. We're saying
scripted-
straight
yeah.
up, scripted comedy.
If anyone knows in the comments, let me know.
When's Adam Sandler gonna come out with another movie?
Well,
That's
the last
comedy
10
to
years
me.
of
I
Adam
was gonna
Sandler
say, I
hasn't
wouldn't-
I've been
funny.
serious.
if we were trying to get comedy back on track, I wouldn't have gone with Adam Sandler first.
He hasn't even been doing serious. It's just the last 10 years.
Yeah,
of-
let him do more Uncut Gems shit.
Yeah,
I'm saying I never saw that.
it was good.
So
You would love it. It's like an hour and a half panic attack. It's
really,
great.
oh, I love those.
No, and that's like I feel like we gravitate towards movies that came out when we were younger because they're actually funny.
Well, and that's the problem with the nostalgia trip right now, right? Like everything's fucking 90s.
When do you
slamming us
think
in the
this will
face.
get remade?
Oh man, I know.
hope never.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
I mean, I do think it'd be interesting to see another scary movie and have like Annabelle. Oh wait, Annabelle was in 4 or 5. 5. Okay.
wow, Jesus.
But to
Because that's
see
2013 was the last one.
Okay.
'Cause I saw that in the theater with all my little
What if-
degenerate friends.
Okay, here's a pitch for you. What if we bought the original cast, everyone that was in Scary Movie 1, this one we just watched,
all
brought it
still
back,
around?
smacked it into the theater, spent 10 mil on it, put some fucking production behind it,
I'd
and
watch it.
Because horror movies are in what I would call a pretty solid renaissance right now.
Yeah.
It'd be
we
a good
have
time
we
for
have
it.
the remakes of everything.
And they could parody. Oh my God,
They
they could
could
literally call it
parody-
Scary Movie again
Yes.
because that's what Scream just did. See,
Right, exactly.
Wayne's boys, get us on the horn.
Come
We're
on,
ready,
baby.
We're locked in.
$10,000
I'll
a cut.
invest.
Shit, I'll pay you to come on set.
Yeah, right. Come on over.
I just want to talk about The Last Boy Scout with you guys.
Oh,
You ever seen that with
no.
Bruce Willis and
Uh-uh.
Damon Wayans?
No.
Classic little
Nope.
90s action flick there.
This is what we need to do during a Halloween extravaganza, though. We need to break it apart. Almost halfway through, with a silly little movie. I don't know if we could talk much more about an hour and a half comedy film.
See, that's the problem is we can just say, that joke was funny, this
Yeah.
was funny.
Yeah.
So just go fucking watch Scary
White
Movie.
Woman in Trouble.
Fuck white
But
women for everyone!
She emailed 911.
Yeah, White Woman in Trouble.
Well, what were you saying before we get into our ratings here? What were you saying about how this movie was ahead of its time, though? Like, you pointed something out.
Well, they did the thing with Miss Mann, the gym teacher, said something like, get the competitive edge on sports.
Yeah.
And, like, there were just little things that, like, were strangely still prevalent
Yeah.
for a 22-year-old comedy.
Wasn't there something in the movie theater scene that you said? Because she had a camera.
Oh, yeah, we got you on
Yeah,
yeah.
she was saying we got you on camera.
Because nowadays, anybody does
Everyone's
anything,
on-
Right.
you're getting recorded.
You're like you park
And
in
canceled.
someone's parking spot or something.
If she had said that, I would have went and bought a lottery ticket.
Right.
This movie was very ahead of its time with its comedy and with its storylines.
Well, yeah, it was like a perfect storm of both like old heads and comedy, as well as the Wayans were still relatively fresh at this. I mean,
Do they not make any movies anymore?
What'd they die
50
with?
Shades of Black? I remember they did
Jesus.
something like that. There was the one where he was naked. That was on Netflix.
I
I
know
don't
there
even
was
know.
Little Man.
That's like 2006.
Yeah, that was a long
I'm trying
time
to remember
ago.
the ones that I remember seeing. White Chicks was good, actually.
Oh, White Chicks is a classic.
I'm offended. As a white chick myself, I'm
White Chicks was actually very, very
Hilarious.
Like, I was surprised with that. But that was very good. I remember. We should do an episode on that.
Mhm.
That's a good one. Tasha,
Yeah.
tell us how we rate things around here.
We rate things on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 obviously being the lowest, and 10 being the highest.
Hold on, I gotta take notes here.
Yeah.
Can you do that one?
Make
again?
sure you write that down. And then we pick it. We decide if we would watch it or not watch it. So pick it or flick it.
So
Huh?
Vox.
So I just looked back at my original Letterboxd rating
Mhm.
from probably when I first signed up and was going through every.
It was the
movie.
first movie you rated.
How
I
can
bet.
you
yeah.
rate movies when you haven't seen them recently?
Well, that's fair.
It's off of a vibe.
Yeah,
See, I don't.
that's fair. Just like stuff that I remember about the movie. But I'm not gonna say that I rated it the best. But I'm also not gonna say I rated it the worst. And this is gonna be a movie that I actually am gonna up my score on by 1, and give it a 7 out of 10.
I don't know what I gave it, but I would say a 7 feels right. In my heart, it's like 11 out of 10.
Yeah,
for sure.
this movie's hilarious.
This
It's
is-
not like a grand scale thing.
Like when people
right?
say
But
there's like comfort movies, this feels like
This is
one
it.
for me where like I
This is
remember every beat, and yet every time it's me, Sin. Like I
Yeah.
just laugh hysterically.
it's okay to be
Officer
you know,
Doofy is maybe the top 10 greatest film characters ever.
It's
I would
I
think.
honestly totally forgot about that ending.
Yep.
I didn't even realize. I thought it was a completely different character.
The greatest trick Doofy ever pulled was convince the world he jerks off in the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, that's right.
That's
It was
poetry.
like the sister, the brother, the whole time. Oh.
Well, yeah, because you didn't remember in the original Scream, Dewey is brother and sister with Tatum, the blonde
Dude, it's
lady.
been so
Oh, yeah.
long since I've seen the original Scream. So long.
I just watched it with Mike and Kyle.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Out of 10?
I'd give it a 7 too.
Wow,
That's a 7.
It's
triple
a-
7.
It's hard. It's a good movie, but it's hard to give a movie.
That's 21. Blackjack.
Or it's
Ooh.
good luck.
It's hard to give a
Hit
movie
777 on a slot.
like a very high score when
don't
it's
gamble.
a spoof and it's
Yeah, right.
all like most of their content is already based on another movie.
Yeah, I'm glad to say that this movie has held up pretty well. I still get a lot out of it. And again, this is it. You venture any
yeah.
further past in the spoof department, and
You're
you're
in
going
trouble.
to
You're in trouble.
splat.
All right, on the count of 3, we're going to say if we pick or flick. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Pick.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I thought more of you. I was hoping all
ruined
3 of us
it.
were going to say flick. as a-
You heard it here first. Scary movie from 2000.
in case you haven't seen this 22-year-old comedy,
That's right. It's great.
3 assholes are recommending it.
Plenty more to come. Well, hope to see you back tomorrow because we record this every single day in October for the Halloween Extravaganza 3. Make sure you subscribe and stick around for more.
Bye.